edition of the 2004 Indonesia Energy and Engineering Series 2024 and IFA Medtech Indonesia 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed to the opening ceremony, allow us to present a brief safety video outlining the emergency procedures in this venue.
Hadirin sekalian, selamat datang di Jakarta International Expo. Terima kasih telah memilih kami sebagai venue event Anda. Sebelum Anda menikmati acara, mohon perhatiannya terhadap pengumuman keselamatan ini. Keselamatan Anda adalah prioritas utama kami. Adalah kewajiban kami untuk menyampaikan petunjuk-petunjuk keselamatan, terutama jika terjadi keadaan darurat, seperti kebakaran, gempa bumi, terjebak di lift, dan listrik padam. Bangunan ini dilengkapi dengan alat pemadam kebakaran, alat pendeteksi kebakaran, sistem alarm kebakaran, pengeras suara untuk pengumuman, dan pintu keluar darurat untuk evakuasi. Silakan luangkan waktu untuk menemukan pintu keluar darurat dan jalur evakuasi terdekat Anda. Terdapat 3 titik kumpul, 1 berada di area depan bangunan ini, dan 2 lainnya berada di area parkir timur dan barat. Jika Anda mendengar alarm kebakaran terus-menerus, harap tetap tenang dan jangan panik. Dengarkan pengumuman dari pengeras suara atau ikuti instruksi petugas penanganan keadaan darurat di gedung Anda. Selama evakuasi, selalu ikuti petunjuk petugas yang memandu Anda dan perhatikan beberapa hal berikut ini. Segeralah menuju pintu keluar terdekat dan jangan berlari. Silakan menuju titik kumpul dengan tertib. Jika Anda berada di lantai 2, segera turun ke lantai dasar melalui tangga. Bantu penyandang disabilitas dan ibu hamil. Jangan membawa beban berat. Lepas sepatu berhak tinggi. Tetap tenang selama berada di titik kumpul. Dan jangan kembali masuk ke dalam gedung kecuali petugas kami menyatakan aman untuk melakukannya. Jika terjadi gempa, lakukan hal berikut ini. Jangan panik dan lindungi kepala Anda dengan tangan atau benda. Cari tempat berlindung yang kokoh berdasarkan prinsip segitiga kehidupan. Setelah gempa reda, segera keluar dari gedung dengan dipandu oleh petugas penanganan keadaan darurat. Jika Anda mengalami terjebak di lift, lakukan hal berikut ini. Jangan panik. Jangan membuka paksa pintu lift. Tekan tombol darurat. Bicara dengan operator lift atau security. Tetaplah tenang sampai bantuan datang. Jika listrik tiba-tiba padam, tetap tenang dan jangan panik. Listrik akan menyala beberapa saat kemudian dengan bantuan generator. Beberapa hal yang dilarang selama beraktivitas di gedung ini. Dilarang merokok, kecuali di tempat yang disediakan di luar gedung. Dilarang memindahkan peralatan penanggulangan keadaan darurat tanpa berkoordinasi dengan petugas safety and security. Dilarang membuang sampah di sembarang tempat. Demikian petunjuk keselamatan ini. Demi keselamatan kunjungan Anda, patuhilah peraturan tersebut dan nikmatilah kunjungan Anda di Jakarta International Expo.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Assalamualaikum. Kami ucapkan ke Bandung Rakan Jame bantukan. Assalamualaikum. Pointen bulan len mubri salam kuare lengkan karena salam Nabi kan sunnah jarotamu mak selamat syarat mulia Alhamdulillah puja Tuhan yang pencipta alam langit dan dunia. Sembah selawat kan junjungan pangmuri ala Rasul Anbiya. Alhamdulillah puja Tuhan yang pencipta alam langit dan dunia. Sembah selawat kan junjungan pangmuri ala Rasul Anbiya. Allahumma amin. Allah berkat rahmat, Allah yang beri nang doa cemak sejahtera. Allah berkat rahmat, Allah yang beri nang doa cemak sejahtera. Allah putengan jangan kunengan wise atom ta cembe tikamu salam putengan jangan kuneng on mise. Jempa mira lelat basang boy tanda atelon nenyu kegata analon sangkade cut ade mampom sambut atelon lapang dada jempa mira lelat basang boy tanda atelon nenyu kegata analon sangkade cut ade mampom sambut atelon lapang dada jempa mira lolat besang boy tanda hatelon nanyu kegata analon sangkade cut ade mampom sambut atelon dengan lapang dada jempa mira lolat besang boy tanda hatelon nanyu kegata analon sangkade cut ade mampom sambut atelon dengan lapang dada. Red karet menauna, red karet menauna. Roblo pinang di barga lembang tujuh lam obat tawanya di dalam minyak melabuh aro pulau pinang di barga lembang tujuh lam obat tawanya di dalam minyak melabuh Allah ilila at pasido ili tarepukar ulang di darat senan geta lampu tetu lela dalam jerat matan ingat sunan geta. Aikut temang baya komang boga tema. Aikut tite bukan mang aikut tite. Aikut temang baya komang boga tema. Aikut titi bukan mang aikut tite. Aikut temang baya komang boga tema. Aila otsa ilala ombak me. Lan para kulaya laban kana sabah kapata tiang temengku ala kamayone rakela bukone layar waleo cida gilanyar cida lausa ila lombak ma len kapading drama bura bacite salam kesa lan salaman poho widing kata lausa.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give another big round of applause for the traditional Saman dance from Sanggar Kampung Seni Yuda.
The performance we just witnessed is a deeply significant cultural expression from Indonesia. Hailing from the Gayo Highlands of Aceh, this dance is famously referred to as the Dance of a Thousand Hands.
Saman represent a strong symbol of unity, harmony, and collective spirit values that perfectly align with the essence of today's event. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace be upon us all. Shalom. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, greetings of goodness. Your Excellency, Lieutenant General TNI Suharyanto, SOS MM, Head of the National Disaster Management Authority, BNPB. Good morning, sir.
Your Excellency, Sakyasi Ditoka, Minister for Rural Maritime Development and Disaster Management of the Republic of Fiji. It is a great privilege to welcome you, sir.
Mr. Eric Yap, Commissioner of the Singapore Civil Defense Force.
Mr. Andi Rizaldi, STMM, Head of the Industrial Services Standardization and Policy Authority, BSKJI, Ministry of Industry, Republic of Indonesia.
Dr. Nelly Florida Riyama, SSE, MSE, Deputy for the Geophysics, Climatology and Geophysics Authority, BMKG.
Mr. Ian Roberts, Vice President, Asia Informa Markets.
Mrs. Lia Indriasari, Country Manager of PT Pamerindo Indonesia. Good morning. And of course, welcome to all of you, all honored guests and distinguished participants. It's a great pleasure that we welcome you all today. And allow us to introduce ourselves. My name is Tommy Chokro and
I'm Gisela Tessa.
we are honored to be here as your MC for today. We are gathered for a momentous event that brings together several key platforms of discussions and collaborations.
It is our great honor to welcome you to the opening ceremony of the 3rd Asia Disaster Management and Civil Protection Expo and Conference 2024, the 2nd Global Forum for Sustainable Resilience 2024, and the ASEAN High-Level Dialogue on the occasion of the 20th commemoration of the 2004 Indian Ocean Tsunami. Additionally, we are delighted to launch the Indonesia Energy and Engineering Series 2024, as well as the GIFAMETEC Indonesia 2024, bringing together leading experts and stakeholders from across industries to explore innovative solutions and ideas.
Yes, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it is an honor to welcome Mrs. Lia Indriasari, Country Manager of PT Pamerindo Indonesia, to deliver the event report for the 3rd Asia Disaster Management and Civil Protection Expo and Conference 2024. Mrs. Lia Indriasari, please join us on stage.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. May peace be upon us. Distinguished guests, His Excellency Lieutenant General TNI Suharyanto SS MM, Head of the National Disaster Management Authority, Republic of Indonesia. Her Excellency Ibu Retno Marsudi, who could not join with us today, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Mr. Sakya Siditoka, Minister for Rural, Maritime Development and Disaster Management, Republic of Fiji, His Excellency Mr. Kamal Kishore, United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNDRR, His Excellency Mr. Ekapap Patawong, Deputy Secretary General of ASEAN, His Excellency Mr. Eric Yap, Commissioner of the Singapore Civil Defense Force, the Honorable Bapak Andi Rizaldi, STMM, Head of the Industrial Services Standardization and Policy Authority, Ministry of Industry, Republic of Indonesia, the Honorable Dr. Nelly Florida Riyama, SSE MSE, Deputy for Geophysics of the Indonesian Meteorology, Climatology and Geophysics Authority, BMKG, Republic of Indonesia, the Honorable Mr. Ian Roberts, VP Asia of Infoma Markets, and Mrs. Beatrice Ho, Director of Messe Düsseldorf Asia, Chairmen and founders of all supporting associations and representative of embassies, which I cannot mention one by one. All distinguished guests, sponsors, partners, and our beloved exhibitors, please allow me to address you all in Bahasa Indonesia. Yang terhormat Bapak Ibu sekalian, para tamu undangan, para peserta pameran, rekan-rekan media, dan seluruh hadirin yang kami banggakan. Selamat datang di acara pembukaan pameran ADEXCO, Indonesia Energy and Engineering Series, dan GIFA dan METEC Indonesia. Pertama-tama izinkanlah saya mengucapkan terima kasih yang sebesar-besarnya kepada seluruh pejabat pembuka, utamanya Bapak Kepala Badan BNPB, dan Bapak Ibu sekalian yang sudah hadir di pagi hari ini. Izinkan saya untuk menyambut Bapak Ibu sekalian di pertemuan akbar di sektor industri yang terbesar di Asia Tenggara, yaitu Indonesia Energy dan Engineering Series, yang di dalamnya terdapat 7 sektor industri utama dan sangat penting bagi Indonesia, dan termasuk di dalamnya adalah ADEXCO yang fokus terhadap manajemen kebencanaan dan perlindungan sipil, dan juga pameran GIFA dan METEC Indonesia yang mewakili sektor engineering. Kami sangat bangga melaporkan bahwa kegiatan kami saat ini sudah menjadi pertemuan industri terbesar di Asia Tenggara yang diikuti oleh lebih dari 2.800 perusahaan pameran dari 44 negara, memanfaatkan area seluas 105.000 meter persegi di J-Expo Kemayoran. ADEXCO sendiri adalah acara yang sangat penting bagi kami, perlindungan sipil. Pada edisi kali ini kami menampilkan 126 perusahaan dari 14 negara yang memanfaatkan area seluas 4.000 meter persegi. Dengan tema Advancing Sustainable Resilience, kami menyoroti pentingnya kolaborasi pentahelix antara akademisi, pelaku bisnis, komunitas, pemerintah, media, serta semua stakeholders. Sustainable Resilience adalah pendekatan yang multifaset yang dibutuhkan untuk menghadapi tantangan perkembangan zaman dan dunia modern. Kita memerlukan pendekatan holistik yang tidak hanya menggabungkan aksi iklim, tetapi juga pengurangan resiko bencana dan inisiatif pembangunan berkelanjutan. Ini berarti kita harus memupuk kerjasama internasional, memobilisasi sumber daya, dan mengadopsi solusi inovatif yang mendukung mitigasi serta adaptasi. Bapak Ibu hadirin sekalian yang kami muliakan, sebagai bagian dari rangkaian acara Indonesia Energy dan Engineering Series, kami sebagai penyelenggara berkomitmen untuk terus membangun masa depan yang lebih berkelanjutan. Kami mengajak seluruh pemangku kepentingan untuk ikut serta dalam agenda keberlanjutan ini. Banyak sekali inisiatif-inisiatif yang kami jalankan yang menampilkan berbagai macam aspek sustainability di dalam kegiatan pameran kami kali ini. Mulai dari program pengolahan limbah, program pengurangan emisi karbon, program inklusivitas, hingga berbagi pengetahuan terhadap para audiens kami mengenai topik sustainability. Salah satu contoh yang Bapak Ibu bisa lihat saat ini adalah ornamen backdrop yang ada di belakang saya. Ini merupakan backdrop yang mempergunakan 100% recycled cardboard. Dan ini adalah bukti nyata komitmen kami dalam mengimplementasikan aspek sustainability di setiap kegiatan yang kami jalankan. Kami juga sangat bangga untuk menginformasikan bahwa pada acara kami, kegiatan kami di tahun lalu, kami telah berhasil mencapai 16 dari 17 UN SDGs Point. Dan kami berkomitmen untuk tahun ini kami akan melaksanakannya dengan lebih baik lagi. Bapak Ibu hadirin sekalian yang saya muliakan, besar harapan kami rangkaian kegiatan ini akan memberi manfaat yang sangat besar bagi perekonomian bangsa dan menjadi landasan dalam membangun masa depan yang resilience dan sustainable bagi Indonesia. Dengan semangat kerjasama dan inovasi, mari kita bersama-sama berkontribusi untuk masa depan yang lebih baik. Akhir kata, selamat menikmati pameran. We hope you will enjoy the show as much as we do. Terima kasih, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. May peace be upon us.
Thank you, Mrs. Lia Indriasari. Ladies and gentlemen, now it is the time for the welcoming remarks from the head of the National Disaster Management Authority, BNPB, Lieutenant General TNI Suharyanto, SOS MM. Mr. Suharyanto, please join us to the stage.
Terima kasih. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Salam, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Yang terhormat Bapak Sakyasi Detoka, Menteri Pembangunan Pedesaan, Kelautan, dan Penanggulangan Bencana Republik Fiji. Yang terhormat Bapak Eric Yap, Komisioner Singapore Civil Defense Force. Yang saya hormati Bapak Marco Toscano Rivalta, Pimpinan Kantor PBB untuk Pengurangan Risiko Bencana Regional Asia Pasifik. Yang saya hormati Bapak Andi Rijaldi, Kepala Badan Standarisasi dan Kebijakan Jasa Industri Kementerian Perindustrian Indonesia. Tentu saja yang baru saja bicara, yang kami hormati Ibu Lia Indriasari, Country Manager PT Pamerindo Indonesia. Seluruh peserta pameran Indonesia Energy dan Engineering yang kami hormati, dan para narasumber, perwakilan negara ASEAN, kementerian lembaga, pemerintah daerah, lembaga donor, mitra pembangunan, lembaga internasional, industri, lembaga usaha, akademisi, media, para tamu undangan, dan hadirin sekalian yang kami cintai, kami hormati, dan kami banggakan. Selamat datang dalam acara Adexo tahun 2024 di Jakarta. Saya menyampaikan apresiasi yang setinggi-tingginya atas kehadiran Bapak Ibu pada acara pembukaan ini, yang direncanakan akan dilaksanakan selama 4 hari, mulai tanggal 11 hingga 14 September 2024. Dalam penyelenggaraan Adexo tahun ini, kita akan menyaksikan berbagai inovasi, teknologi, dan solusi dalam bidang penanggulangan bencana yang dihadirkan oleh peserta dari berbagai sektor dan negara. Acara ini dilaksanakan dalam rangka peringatan 20 tahun Tsunami Samudra Hindia 2024, 2004, dan bersamaan dengan acara Forum Global untuk Resiliensi yang berkelanjutan 2024, serta dialog tingkat tinggi ASEAN untuk peringatan 20 tahun Tsunami Samudra Hindia tahun 2004. Bapak dan Ibu yang terhormat, kita semua tahu bahwa kawasan Asia dan Pasifik adalah kawasan yang indah dan kaya akan sumber daya alam. Namun demikian, dengan segala keindahan dan kekayaan alam tersebut, tersimpan juga ancaman bencana yang beragam, mulai dari bencana geologi, vulkanologi, hidrometeorologi, dan gagal teknologi. Di Indonesia sendiri, frekuensi kejadian bencana semakin meningkat dari tahun ke tahun. Kami mencatat lebih dari 5.400 kali bencana sepanjang tahun 2023. Artinya dalam satu hari di Indonesia bisa terjadi 15 sampai 20 kali bencana. Sekarang tahun 2024 baru masuk bulan September, kita sudah mencatat hampir 1.400 kali bencana yang sudah terjadi di Indonesia. Dan bencana yang menonjol adalah bencana hidrometeorologi serta bencana yang sebagian besar dipicu oleh perubahan iklim dan aktivitas manusia. Angka ini naik 52% dari tahun sebelumnya, dikarenakan perubahan iklim, urbanisasi, serta perubahan tata guna lahan. Namun demikian, alhamdulillah, dari segi dampak terhadap jumlah korban jiwa dan kerusakan infrastruktur menunjukkan tren penurunan yang signifikan. Korban jiwa meninggal, hilang, dan luka-luka di tahun 2023 turun 36% dibandingkan tahun 2022. Demikian juga dengan angka kerusakan infrastruktur yang turun 63% dari tahun 2023 dibandingkan dengan tahun 2022. Data dan fakta di atas menunjukkan bahwa kita mungkin tidak bisa secara signifikan mengurangi jumlah terjadinya bencana. Akan tetapi kita bisa mengupayakan dan mengoptimalkan upaya pencegahan dan mitigasi untuk mengurangi potensi dampak baik dari sisi korban jiwa maupun harta benda. Oleh karena itu, forum pameran teknologi dan konferensi untuk saling berbagi informasi dan praktik baik di kawasan seperti kegiatan kita hari ini merupakan wujud nyata dari upaya membangun sistem yang kuat, sistem yang tidak hanya mampu merespon saat terjadi bencana, tetapi juga berorientasi pada mitigasi resiko dan kesiapsiagaan. Adexo tahun 2024 ini merupakan penyelenggaraan yang ketiga dengan tema Advancing Sustainable Resiliency yang terdiri dari berbagai rangkaian kegiatan, yaitu yang pertama adalah Global Forum for Sustainable Resiliency 2024. Yang kedua, ini adalah sebuah forum penting yang terkait resiliensi berkelanjutan yang menandai komitmen kita bersama dalam memperkuat strategi pengurangan risiko bencana di kawasan. Konsep resiliensi berkelanjutan ini mencakup 4 pilar utama, yaitu budaya dan kelembagaan, investasi sains teknologi, akses pendanaan, dan transfer teknologi, infrastruktur tahan bencana dan perubahan iklim, serta komitmen dalam mengimplementasikan kesepakatan global terkait pengurangan risiko bencana dan adaptasi perubahan iklim. Kedua adalah dialog tingkat tinggi ASEAN untuk peringatan 20 tahun tsunami Samudra Hindia 2004. Pertemuan ini menghadirkan perwakilan 10 negara ASEAN dan tidak hanya untuk memperingati 2 dekade tsunami Samudra Hindia tahun 2004, tetapi lebih jauh kita berkomitmen nyata untuk memastikan bahwa tragedi seperti itu tidak akan terjadi lagi. Atau jika terjadi, kita sudah siap dan tangguh dalam menghadapinya, serta mampu membangun masa depan yang lebih aman. Yang ketiga adalah kegiatan Expo atau pameran industrialisasi kebencanaan. Pameran ini tidak hanya menampilkan produk dan teknologi, tetapi menciptakan peluang besar untuk membangun kerjasama baru, menciptakan teknologi lokal yang kuat, dan memperluas jejaring industri yang siap dipasarkan di dunia. Perkembangan ilmu pengetahuan, riset, dan teknologi harus terintegrasi dalam satu ekosistem implementasi dan industrialisasi yang kuat. Industrialisasi dalam manajemen bencana adalah jalan kita menuju resiliensi berkelanjutan. Dan yang keempat, dalam kegiatan IDEXO ini adalah kegiatan lokakarya, diversifikasi, dan penghijauan rantai pasokan kemanusiaan, dan lokakarya tentang membangun inklusivitas dalam ketahanan iklim di tingkat kota dan kabupaten. Kedua lokakarya ini akan diselenggarakan di PNU pada tanggal 13 dan 14 September mendatang. Ini adalah dua acara yang berbeda tetapi dengan satu tujuan yang sama, membangun masa depan yang lebih tangguh, berkelanjutan, dan inklusif bagi kita semua. Bapak, Ibu, dan hadirin yang saya hormati, saya juga menyampaikan apresiasi dan terima kasih kepada pemerintah Australia yang melalui program Siap Siaga atas dukungannya dalam penyelenggaraan Global Forum for Sustainable Resiliency kedua ini. Hal yang sama kepada Uni Eropa, AHA Center, dan Sekretariat ASEAN yang telah berperan dalam penyelenggaraan dialog tingkat tinggi untuk memperingati 20 tahun Tsunami Samudra Hindia 2004. Terima kasih juga kepada Pamerindo dan semua pihak yang sudah terlibat dalam mewujudkan IDEXO 2024 ini. Semoga rangkaian kegiatan ini bisa berjalan lancar dan sukses sebagaimana yang diharapkan. Terakhir, izinkan saya mengelurkan semangat solidaritas bagi saudara-saudara kita di Filipina dan Vietnam yang saat ini terdampak bencana Taifun Yagi. Doa kami senantiasa mengiringi upaya pemerintah dan masyarakat Filipina dan Vietnam dalam menghadapi bencana alam ini. Kita percaya bahwa bersama kita dapat membangun kawasan yang lebih tangguh, yang tidak hanya siap menghadapi bencana, tetapi juga mampu bangkit lebih setelahnya. Mari kita mulai dari sekarang, karena masa depan dunia ada di tangan kita semua. Dengan ini, maka saya sampaikan kegiatan IDEXO ini secara resmi saya nyatakan dibuka. Sekian dan terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Santi 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 Om. Selesai.
Terima kasih Pak Suharyanto. Kami mohon untuk tetap berada di atas panggung. Please remain on stage, sir. Again, thank you for the welcoming remarks, and please, as we proceed with the next agenda, which is pemukulan kentongan, a symbolic strike to mark the official opening of today's event. Striking the kentongan. The kentongan is a traditional Indonesian wooden slit drum used to signal or communicate over distances, especially in rural areas.
Yes, and we would like also to invite the following distinguished guests to join us for the procession. Representative from the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, Mr. Marco Toscano Rivalta.
Representative from ASEAN, Colonel Harith of Brunei.
Minister for Rural Maritime Development and Disaster Management, Republic of Fiji, Mr. Saskiasi Ditoka.
Commissioner of the Singapore Civil Defense Force, Mr. Eric Yap.
Vice President Asia Informa Markets, Mr. Ian Roberts.
Representing the Minister of the Industry, Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Andi Rizaldi. Please come forward on stage. And also we would like to invite all the guests who sit in the front to rise and join this procession. Yes, you may stand up, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Are we ready? Let's begin. Three,
2,
1.
1.
Thank you. The largest industrial gathering in Southeast Asia is officially open.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain on stage for the group photo session.
Again, please give another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And please remain on stage for taking another photo session. 3, 2, 1. Give another smile to the camera. And another one. 3, 2, 1. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You may all return to your seats. Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored now to invite Mr. Eric Yap, Commissioner of the Singapore Civil Defense Force, to deliver his keynote speech with title Enhancing Resilience Through Integrated Civil Defense and Regional Cooperation. Mr. Eric Yap, the stage is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, and esteemed colleagues. It is a great honor to address you at the opening the second Global Forum for the Sustainable Resilience 2024. The critical convening of
Thank you for a very kind introduction, and of course, His Excellency General Suharyanto, Minister, and of course, Head of BNPB. Excellencies, distinguished guests, a very good morning to everyone. Indeed, it is my greatest honor to be invited to speak on a topic that matters so much to us in the realm of disaster management. And this topic is about enhancing resilience through civil defense and of course international cooperation. And I suppose, SCDF being invited to talk about the concept of civil defense relates very closely to what we do in Singapore, because as a force, we are also the leading organization responsible for driving the concept of civil defense. And of course, the concept of civil defense is much larger than the organization of the Singapore Civil Defense Force. And I shall go into that with a bit more details in my following slides. I've got about 10 slides and about 15 minutes. I'm going to manage the time very carefully. I'll be more than happy to talk about this, beyond this short sharing. So if I could have the clicker for the next slide. Yes. So, the concept of, thank you so much. The concept of resilience is no foreign to many of us here in the realm of disaster management. But specifically when we talked about civil defense, what do we mean by resilience? We are really talking about individuals, communities, and systems having the ability to withstand, to recover, to adapt to really very trying circumstances. And we want to look at two segments of it. One obviously will be the people, and the other will be the system itself. And of course, when we talk about system, we talk about institutions, we talked about system resiliencies, but for the people itself, it means a lot. First of all, being prepared. Secondly, to be adaptive to the challenging environment. And of course, thirdly, to have the coping mechanism. But each of these are not isolated, and each of these do not function independently because they are interdependent, and how well we do in one affects the other. And this essentially, how we define simplistically the concept of civil defense and resilience in civil defense. It's like a cogwheel. When we talk about a cogwheel, we talk about a resilient nation, and there are 3 sub-cogwheels to it. And the cogwheel that is highlighted in yellow in this slide is about the role that we play, in SCDF, promoting and strengthening the concept of civil defense across the society. And this is really what we do, and partnering 2 very important components of the society. One, of course, is the private sector, because the government cannot be doing everything and anything. We need the entire private industry, from the different sectors to come together to make this happen. And of course, the other part that we want to strengthen resilience about is really the community. And the community are the most vulnerable group, and the community has to be involved in order to making sure that resilience becomes sustainable, as what we are talking about in this particular forum. And how do we go about building resilience in the SCDF? It is our responsibility, because as an organization, as a force, that is incumbent on our mandated role. But resilience, as I mentioned, in the concept of civil defense, is about preparing the nation. And here we go about through 3 key aspects. And these 3 key aspects so happens also to be the transformation vision of the SCDF for the next 5 years, bringing us to 2030. Because we are just at the tail end of our 10-year transformation program of building a nation of lifesavers, which started in 2015 and is going to end in 2025, which is next year. And in just this year's work plan for the SCDF in July, we just talked about Transformation 2030, and this exactly is where we are hitting the spot on the 3 aspects that we want to build up. And this 3 aspects resonates to the concept and the framework that I just talked about of the vision of being prepared even for the unexpected. And the 3 components that matter so much to us is about being future ready for operation, and that's very organization centric. The second aspect is a connected SCDF. You can have wonderful systems. If the systems are not connected, you are not going to get the data out of it. You are not going to be better informed. You are not going to be able to sense make as much as we need, to confront the challenges going forward. And of course, the resilient society is all that matters, because you can have a lot of preparedness activity, you can have initiatives, but if the populace is not prepared for emergency, we are going to have the greatest of all impact, upon them when disaster happens. And of course, there goes the 3 color boxes that we talked about, the resiliency across the society. And how we do it, being a future-ready organization, as I talked about, being organization-centric, is about the 3 key components, and one of which is about building hardware and hardware, right? And hardware as an organization responsible for disaster management and emergency response, it matters a lot to have a wide array of capabilities to be able to deal with emergency situations. And to be able to deal with emergency situation immediately is one level. To have the redundancy to cope when multiple incidents continue to unfold itself as we are dealing with one is another question. So it becomes incumbent on the organization to build this depth of capability, and this is something that SCDF strives to achieve in having that depth to respond to multiple agencies through an array of capabilities, hardware, and of course, the mental resiliency of our workforce to be able to cope with multiple incidents. And that's the final box that we see there, talking about psychological support to our emergency responders, because all of us, and I'm quite certain, knows that emergency responders goes through the most traumatic of all scenes. And while we can cope and we can deal with situations, we are still humans, and the aftermath impact on emergency responders, if we don't address it, is going to have profound consequences on the ability of the organization to deal with the next incident that happens. So this is what we talked about. A connected SCDF, I talked briefly, and this is really about making sure each of the information nodes that we have are connected, are interconnected, and they share the same sources of truth and provide the same sources of truth to the Emergency Management Authority, so that when they make a decision, it is the best informed decision that they have at that point in time to execute the rescue mission that they need to do. And we talked about nodes just not relating to operations, but nodes relating to operational support functions, such as logistics, because so often than not, we take for granted that logistics supply will always be there to support us in disaster management. But when that does not come about, it's going to cripple us in disaster management. And this is something that we want to make sure, as we build a system, the ecosystem remain robust and resilient to be able to withstand incidents and multiple incidents that will shock the system. And of course, the very public-facing one is something that is extremely real and extremely confronting to all of us. In SCDF, as we strive to move forward to build a resilient society, we start by building small steps, right? Small steps as in getting the population involved in everyday emergencies. And this is how we do it, through an app that we call My Responder. And this is the second version of the app. Basically, it invites the community to sign up as emergency responders. And on an everyday basis, when there's an emergency, whether it is a cardiac arrest or a minor fire situation, if the person is within 400 meters of the incident, the person will receive an alert through the app of the incident, and the person can accept it or reject it and then respond to the incident. And quite certainly, for that 12,000 over cases that the community has responded to, they always arrive before the emergency services for a reason, because they are already at the vicinity, and that makes a huge lot of difference. And you can see for the figures itself, for the 180,000 community first responders that we have, 80 lives, 80 cardiac arrest victims that have suffered an incident were resuscitated because of the help of community first responders. And the fact is that these are 80 lives of 80 more families and loved ones, and that how impactful it is. And these are small steps to building a resilient nation, because we all understand the concept of civil defense. The more prepared the community is on emergency preparedness activity, the greater their ability to cope during an abnormal circumstance. It is really about people reacting normally during an abnormal situation. And if they have the skills, if they have the knowledge to weather those situations, that will make a difference. And that is about resilience in civil defense. And of course, building a resilient society means that we have to create activities, not just the app, but activities that involve the community, activities that bring the community forward to venues to learn emergency preparedness skills, because we want to have really a nation of lifesavers, and we are journeying towards that. I'm into the final slides, and this is really the final part of talking about international cooperation. And of course, our guest of honor, General Suharyanto, in his speech, did talk about the number of disasters in this region that we encounter. And it is no secret, that this region is the most disaster-prone region in the entire world. And the fact and the figures that General has cited, up to this point in time, there are 1,400 disasters that happened in Indonesia alone underscores this point. The fact is that if we fail to cooperate, we will face the consequences. And I'm absolutely delighted, and I stand here fully convinced that the ASEAN region is really a region that truly believes in disaster preparedness. And this has come a long way through cooperation. And the framework that we have, through the ACDM, through the agreement that we put together in the ADMIA, which is the ASEAN Agreement on Disaster Management and Emergency Response, following the tsunami incident in 2004, has come a long way in bringing the entire 10 ASEAN member states much closer to cooperate on different initiatives, such as some of those that we see. And this comes from as high level as strategic dialogues that we talked about, like for instance, the one we just had in mid of August, the strategic policy dialogue on disaster management, where really experts come together, explore topical issues, and such issues and discussions then funnel down to the work plan of the ADMIA, work plan of the ACDM for the subsequent years to execute. And that's one level. And of course, the second level, which is the practitioner level, we talk about equipping disaster managers with knowledge, with networking, so that we are no strangers when we need to operate together on disaster sites. We know each other, and we understand the lingo, we understand the practices. And this is something that I think all of us in the ASEAN truly appreciates, the cooperation that we enjoy. And this cooperation, of course, is something that the ASEAN member states never take for granted, because it is all about building trust, it is all about building resilience, and it is something that we all work extremely hard towards. So, ladies and gentlemen, really I've come to my final slide, and I thank you for the opportunity to do this sharing at this very, very important forum, the Global Forum on Sustainable Resilience. I thank BNPB for creating this initiative. It is a very, very important initiative for us to talk about an important topic that will help to reinforce resilience against disaster in this region. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eric Yap, Commissioner of the Singapore Civil Defense Force, for your keynote speech. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Suharyanto is leaving for the next agenda. And again, we would like to say thank you so much, sir, for your remarks to open this event.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are honored to present a video from the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, Her Excellency Mrs. Retno Marsudi, titled The World Beyond 2030 and Why Sustainable Resilience Matters.
Today our world is at a critical juncture. Disasters continue to occur more frequently and with a much greater scale of impact. Climate change has become a catalyst for natural disasters, making them more unpredictable and challenging to manage. This reality is a constant challenge for Indonesia, as our land is prone to natural disasters. That is why Disaster Risk Reduction, or DRR, is not just a priority. It is our lifeline. This is our battle. No nation can face these challenges alone. Promoting international cooperation and sustainable resilience is at the heart of Indonesia's humanitarian diplomacy. Through the Sendai framework, the Paris Agreement, and other global initiatives, we need to work hand in hand with our neighbors and partners. We support those who face similar threats, knowing that resilience is not just a national goal. It is a global imperative. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, as we look beyond 2030, we must rethink and strengthen our approach to disaster risk reduction. Our experience in navigating through the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us many valuable lessons on how to design and implement life-saving policies. The most important takeaways from this experience are that addressing disasters not only require mitigation effort, but also preventive measures, and that sustainable resilience is the answer to better prepare for future pandemic. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to highlight three key principles as we move forward. First, we must leverage the advancement in science, technology, and data to ensure risk-informed decision-making and investment. This means investing in technology, including in ensuring access to funding and technology transfer. It improves our early warning systems, enhances disaster response, and strengthens our overall resilience. Second, we must embrace a collaborative, community-based, and inclusive multi-helix approach in our DRR effort. Resilience begins at the grassroots level, involving multi-stakeholders. We must continue fostering this collaborative spirit, ensuring that our DRR efforts are community-driven and that the most vulnerable population are not left behind. Third, we must integrate resilience into all development strategies. Resilience is not an add-on element. It is a fundamental component of sustainable development. Every development initiative, whether infrastructure, healthcare, or education, must be designed with resilience in mind. It means planning for the long term, anticipating future risks, and ensuring that our progress is not easily undone by disasters. Indonesia has embedded resilience into its national development strategies, ensuring that our growth is both sustainable and secure. Furthermore, Indonesia has taken significant steps to promote sustainable resilience within the region. During Indonesia chairmanship in ASEAN last year, one of the key deliverables is the ASEAN Leaders' Declaration on Sustainable Resilience. This milestone underscored the collective commitment of ASEAN nations to integrate climate and disaster resilience for sustainable development into all aspects of life. It calls for enhanced collaboration and cooperation in building sustainable resilience. This includes strengthening regional mechanism for comprehensive disaster response and ensuring that efforts to build resilience are inclusive, particularly for vulnerable communities. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, let me reiterate that sustainable resilience is indispensable to synergize disaster reduction and sustainable development as we move closer to 2030 and beyond. This period presents not just the conclusion of the SDGs and Sendai framework for DRR, but also the beginning of a new era where our actions today will shape our future. And with that, I wish you have a productive and constructive forum. I thank you very much.
And that was Mrs. Retno Marsudi. And now we have a video message from Mr. Kamal Kishore from the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNDRR.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to send you this message for the second Global Forum for Sustainable Resilience. The UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction extends its gratitude to Indonesia for championing the concept of sustainable resilience, which it introduced at the 2022 Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction in Bali. I was privileged to be part of that event. Today, we confront a reality where risks can quickly create impacts that cascade across sectors. in our interconnected world, a single disaster can have ripple effects on multiple economic sectors, hindering the achievement of sustainable development. To get ahead of these challenges, I would like to highlight three priorities to ensure sustainable resilience. First, we must transform the concept of sustainable resilience into practical action. Disaster risk reduction has always thrived on hands-on approaches. Let us share more concrete examples of how holistic approaches to disaster prevention, preparedness, and recovery can be successfully implemented. For instance, reflecting on the lessons of the past 20 years since the Indian Ocean tsunami, how can we foster sustainable resilience among exposed coastal communities? Second, as called for by His Excellency President Joko Widodo, societies must cultivate a culture of prevention, particularly among young people. We could not agree more. Empowering the next generation is the theme for this year's International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction, and is the reason we are calling on all countries to endorse the comprehensive school safety framework. Third, we must harness the power of partnerships. No single organization or government entity can tackle the complexity of today's risks on its own. This is why the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction calls on countries to adopt a whole-of-society approach to mobilize all resources and at the same time ensure the inclusion of all, including indigenous communities. Across these three priorities, Indonesia and the members of ASEAN are well positioned to lead by example. Not as the most disaster-prone region, but as the most sustainably resilient region. I thank you and wish you a very successful forum.
Thank you. That was Mr. Kamal Kishore. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will present the video message from Mr. Ekapa Pantafong, Deputy Secretary General of ASEAN.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, and esteemed colleagues. It is a great honor to address you at the opening of the second Global Forum for the Sustainable Resilience 2024. A critical convening of the minds and efforts at the time when the planet faces unprecedented challenges. Today, we stand at a crossroads, reflecting on the immense progress we have made while acknowledging the urgent task ahead in our quest for the sustainable resilience. Today's forum is themed Navigating Uncertainty, Advancing Sustainable Resilience in Changing World, aptly capturing both the dynamism and the complexity of the challenges we face. It calls upon us to embrace innovative, integrated solutions within the framework of the Paris Agreement on the climate change, the Sendai framework for the disaster risk reduction, and the sustainable development goals. These global agreements are not just visions; they are our shared roadmap to resilient and the sustainable future. We exemplify the power of collaboration. The ASEAN Leaders Declaration on Sustainable Resilience adopted in 2023 highlights our commitment to integrated approaches and the regional cooperation. By the working together, sharing knowledge and supporting one another, ASEAN can define its impact and enhance resilience across all the ASEAN member states. This year, forum is organized with backdrop of the 20 years after the Indian Ocean tsunami and is part of the ASEAN commemoration of the 20th anniversary of the Indian Ocean tsunami. The commemoration serves as a reminder of devastating impacts natural disasters can have on societies and the ecosystems, and highlights the critical importance of taking proactive measures to reduce risk and enhance our collective resilience. In addition to Indonesia, ASEAN commemoration of the 20th year Indian Ocean tsunami is also being held in other ASEAN countries affected by the tsunami. Malaysia and Thailand, in Brunei as the chair of the ASEAN meeting on disaster management 2024. The events highlight our regional unity and solidarity, reinforcing the ASEAN's commitment to working together in the face of adversity. There is an opportunity to reflect on the significant progress that we have made in disaster management and preparedness since that tragic day, and to renew our courage to prioritize disaster reduction. Finally, I would like to congratulate the Indonesian National Disaster Management Authority for the successful convening of the second Global Forum for the Sustainable Resilience. Let us leverage this gathering to inspire transformative action, ensuring that we leave a powerful legacy of the resilience for the future generations. Together we can and must navigate these uncertainties and build a brighter, more resilient future for all. Thank you very much.
And that was from Mr. Ekafav Pantavong, Deputy Secretary General of ASEAN. So next, we are honored to invite His Excellency, Mr. Sakyasi Ditoka, Minister for Rural Maritime Development and Disaster Management from the Republic of Fiji, to deliver his keynote speech with the title, Building Resilient Rural and Maritime Communities. Mr. Sakyasi Ditoka, the stage is yours.
Colonel Harith of Brunei, Chair of the ASEAN Committee on Disaster Management. Excellencies, Bapak and Ibu representing the Indonesian government, including heads of ministries and departments, members of the diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen. Disambul Binaka, selamat pagi. It is my privilege and honor to speak on an issue that is most prevalent in our communities and which require our collaboration and commitment at all levels of engagement, at national, regional and global, building resilient rural and maritime communities. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand at a pivotal moment in global history as we grapple with the stark reality of a changing climate. We are witnessing its widespread and undeniable impact on the global economy, livelihoods, cultures, and the environment. The challenges that face rural and maritime communities are particularly dire. These areas often face structural and institutional barriers to development that are all too familiar across rural regions across the world. While our world has transitioned to a predominantly urban population, around 3.4 billion people still live in rural areas. In lower middle-income countries, 60% of the population reside in rural areas. And in low-income countries, the figure stands at 67%. What especially worrying statistic is that approximately 79% of the world's extreme poor live in rural areas. Ladies and gentlemen, rural and maritime communities face considerable obstacles made worse by extreme weather conditions and the growing threat of climate change. Many of these communities are located far from major urban centers, limiting their access to development opportunities and critical services. Natural hazards such as droughts exacerbate the already precarious livelihoods of rural communities that depend on agriculture. Other key sectors such as tourism and fisheries are affected by warmer seas and ocean acidification, which have devastating impacts on marine ecosystems. Coastal erosion and rising sea levels further threaten the existence of coastal communities and increase the risks of displacement. In the Asia-Pacific region, typhoons, cyclones, landslides, drought, volcanoes, earthquakes, and flooding have become the bane of rural communities. These areas are often at the forefront of climate impacts due to lack of mitigation measures and disaster-resilient infrastructure. The absence of storm-resilient buildings and inadequate drainage systems makes them particularly vulnerable. The strengths and resilience of rural and maritime communities, despite these challenges, our rural and maritime communities remain the custodians of much that brings beauty and diversity to our world. They preserve traditional knowledge and cultural heritage, and they serve as protectors of biodiversity, flora, and fauna. Moreover, they are inherently resilient in the face of adversity, demonstrating strength and perseverance time and time again. In keeping in line with the principles of sustainable resilience that is being promoted by the Indonesian government, building resilient rural and maritime communities means that we must put people at the very heart of development. This means ensuring that their voices are heard, their needs are met, and their futures are shaped by their own participation. Localization and the active participation of rural communities in decision-making processes are crucial for fostering sustainable development. It ensures that the interventions designed to lift people out of poverty and increase economic and social resilience are not only effective, but also owned by the communities themselves. In doing so, we must place a stronger focus on capturing the voices of the most vulnerable among us: women, children, the elderly, the youth, disabled, and indigenous groups. Their perspectives and needs should drive our policies, as they are often the most affected by the challenges we seek to address. It is equally important to enhance the institutional and governance arrangements through which policies and frameworks are implemented. This means ensuring that the legislation is clear, responsive, and focused on meeting the needs and aspirations of rural communities. Ladies and gentlemen, at the core of resilience building is the alleviation of poverty. This requires tailor-made, contextualized economic empowerment programs that promote sustainable livelihoods for rural and maritime communities. Empowering these communities economically is essential to ensuring their resilience in the face of future challenges. The continued provision of critical infrastructure and services is vital. By ensuring connectivity and access to opportunities, we can boost productivity, improve communication, and link rural communities to markets. These connections ultimately lead to a better quality of life for all. This also means that we need to promote and invest in disaster and climate resilient infrastructure and systems that enhance community preparedness and resilience. These include investing in sustainable infrastructure such as seawalls, water management systems, and cyclone-proof housing, enhancing early warning systems and disaster response protocols, and empowering local leadership to lead emergency response initiatives. Building resilient rural and maritime communities is not the responsibility of these communities alone. It requires international cooperation, financial support, and knowledge sharing. Governments, development agencies, and the private sector must come together to provide the necessary resources and expertise. Furthermore, we must look to international frameworks such as the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction and the Sustainable Development Goals for guidance on how to structure our resilience building efforts. These frameworks remind us that we are working toward global goals and that by supporting vulnerable communities, we are contributing to a more sustainable, equitable world for all. And as we move forward in our discussions today, let us remember that resilient rural and maritime communities are not just a possibility, they are a necessity. The time for action is now. By working together, fostering innovation, respecting traditional knowledge, and embracing collaboration, we can ensure that these communities thrive. We owe it to future generations to build a world where rural and maritime regions are not on the fringes of development, but at the heart of global progress. Vinaka, terima kasih banyak.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sakyasi Ditoka, Minister for Rural Maritime Development and Disaster Management, Republic of Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are pleased to invite the head of the Industrial Services Standardization and Policy Authority, BSKJI, Ministry of Industry, Republic of Indonesia, to deliver his speech with the title Disaster Industrialization for Resilience Future. Mr. Andi Rizaldi, please join us to the stage.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. May prosperity be upon us all. Om Swastiastu, Nama Budaya. His Excellency Sakyasi Ditoka, Minister from Fiji, distinguished guests, representative from Australia government, USAID, Uni Europa, ASEAN Secretary, and Mr. Yan, representative from Informa, and distinguished guests, official from ministries and institutions, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to welcome you today as we address one of the most critical issues facing our nation, enhancing our capabilities for disaster prevention and response. The Ministry of Industry is dedicated to continuously improving the role of domestic industries in supporting Indonesia's disaster management efforts. Indonesia's pharmaceutical and medical device sectors have been remarkably growth. Our country is home to 233 pharmaceutical industries and 4 national phytopharmaceutical industries distribute across Sumatra, Sulawesi, and Java Island. The Indonesian Medical Devices Manufacturing Association, or we call ASPAKI, is comprised over 200 members who demonstrate remarkable manufacturing capabilities. This member produced a total of 172 products with 25% to 40% local content, or we call TKDN, and 621 products with more than 40% TKDN or local content. For instance, Indonesia's national production capacity for mass reached an impressive more than 8 billion pieces per year, a figure that far exceeds domestic demand. This high level of production capacity is similarly observed in medical gloves and syringes. This achievement highlights the advanced and increasingly integrated nature of Indonesia's manufacturing infrastructure, illustrating our growing ability to meet both current and future needs. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as a nation frequently affected by natural disaster such as earthquakes, floods, and tsunamis, Indonesia has developed significant expertise in managing this crisis. Our domestic industries have been at the forefront of creating innovative technologies to support disaster management. Rural Multipurpose Mechanical Tools, or we call AMDES, is designed to enhance productivity and public health, particularly in rural areas. This versatile tool is crucial in disaster management, especially in remote and challenging locations. Equipped with a water purification system, AMDES has been vital in providing clean water to disaster victims, as demonstrated during the Palu earthquake. Additionally, AMDES functions as a drinking water refill station, thereby supporting local economies. The second is Domus. Domus is developed by PT Tata Logam Lestari, and Domus offers in instant permanent housing solution that can be assembled within 5 days. This rapid construction capability makes Domus an ideal choice for providing immediate shelter during emergencies. It has been effectively deployed in response to disaster in Musamba and North Konawe, delivering crucial housing support. Third, unmanned aerial vehicles, or we call drone. Drones have become essential tools in disaster management globally, and Indonesia is no exception. Their ability to access difficult terrains and collect real-time data proves invaluable at various stages of disaster response. When utilized effectively, drone can significantly enhance response efficiency, expedite recovery effort, and reduce disaster-related losses. Moving forward, it is essential to continue advancing the use of technology and innovation in disaster management across Indonesia. By strategically leveraging these tools, we can significantly enhance our disaster resilience, save lives, and mitigate the impact of natural disaster. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the role of industrialization in disaster resilience can be understood through two critical phases. One is pre-disaster preparedness and mitigation. This phase focuses on proactive measures, including the use of drones for mapping emergency routes and establishing telecommunication network in area where signal may be disrupted during a disaster. Additionally, virtual reality or VR technology plays a vital role in educating school children, the general public, and training emergency response, thereby enhancing overall preparedness. The second, post-disaster response and recovery. In the aftermath of disaster, industry support becomes crucial. Solutions such as Domus instant housing and versatile AMDES vehicle, which I have highlighted earlier, provide essential aid during recovery, offering immediate shelter and practical support to affected communities. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our journey to comprehensively understand and address national disaster is ongoing. While we have made significant progress, there remains much work to be done. Natural disasters are an unavoidable reality, but this does not mean we cannot take proactive steps to prepare and mitigate their effects. Let us seize this moment as a pivotal opportunity to unite in our effort to build disaster resilient nations. We must continue to advance technology and innovation, strengthen our mitigation strategies, and accelerate our disaster response capabilities. Stay vigilant and prepare to confront any potential disaster. Remember, together we have strength and capability to build a disaster resilient in our country. Thank you very much. Good morning. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Andi Rizaldi. And now, for our final keynote speech, we are honored to have Dr. Nelly Florida Riyama, Deputy for Geophysics of the Indonesian Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysics Authority, BMKG, to deliver her speech with the title, Advancing Early Warning Systems to Promote Sustainable Resilience. Dr. Nelly Florida Riyama, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi Bapak Ibu semua. Yang terhormat Bapak Sakyasi Ditoka, Menteri Pembangunan Pedesaan dan Kelautan dan Penanggulangan Bencana Republik Fiji, Bapak Eric Yap, Commissioner Singapore Civil Defense Force, Bapak Marco Toscano Rivalta, Pimpinan Kantor PBB untuk Pengurangan Risiko Bencana Regional Asia Pasifik, kemudian ada Pak Raditya Jati, kemudian Bapak Andi Rizaldi, Kepala Badan Standarisasi dan Kebijakan Jasa Industri, kemudian Ibu Lia Indriasari, kemudian sahabat saya Bapak Laksamana Muda Eko Suyatno dari Deputi Ops Basarnas, dan tentunya seluruh Bapak Ibu yang hadir di sini. Perkenankan saya di sini mewakili Ibu Kepala BMKG, Profesor Dwiko Rita Karnawati, yang sedang dalam perjalanan dari Jenewa ke Jakarta. Beliau menyampaikan permintaan maaf tidak bisa hadir pada hari ini. Saya akan membawakan presentasi terkait Advancing Early Warning System to Promote Sustainable Resilience. I think I can use it. I think we need to learn from the 2 decades post-tsunami Aceh that give us at least 4 lesson learned. First is the importance of systematic observation and standard measurement for early warning, and then innovation in science for non-seismic tsunami, and the critical role of data exchange between countries and institutions. And we also know even with advances in science and technology, community preparedness for early action is essential to save lives. And we maybe you already know how the Secretary General, UN Secretary General mentioned that every person on Earth to be protected with the early warning system by 2027. It's just 3 years from now, and this is the concept of early warning system. So for the first lesson learned, before the 2004 tsunami, Indonesia faced significant gaps that tsunami risk was considered low with limited seismic observation and real-time sea level monitoring, and there was no tsunami warning system at that time, and communities were largely unaware and are prepared. And as a result, the tools and measurement that existed were not integrated into a systematic early warning network, and this failure contributed to almost 230,000 deaths and a significant economic loss. And then we had the 2018 Palu disaster that from that disaster, we have a lesson learned that the need for innovation in tsunami detection, because the earthquake that triggered at that time was from the submarine landslide caused near field tsunami that hit in 2 to 3 minutes. So this event demonstrated that it is not enough to rely solely on sophisticated seismic monitoring system. Communities in tsunami prone area must be educated and empowered to self-evacuate when needed. And then from the Sunda Strait tsunami, it is not caused by the submarine or seismic or tectonic, but it's caused by volcanic activity leading to a submarine landslide. Provided another valuable lesson that data on volcanic activity must be included in tsunami warning system. The other thing that we also realize that a significant gap still exists between technology advancements and user capacity. Technology innovation, including observation, modeling, and data sharing, are essential. But without community understanding, awareness, and preparedness, their effectiveness is limited. We must involve multiple stakeholders, including the private sectors, to bridge the gap and ensure sustainability in tsunami preparedness effort. So, in national level, right now Indonesia is strengthening our tsunami early warning system. So by 2024, 533 seismograph sensors will be in place, and the warning technology will be more reliable, timely, and accurate. And we also develop our comprehensive tsunami modeling database called TOS, and this system enables us to simulate various tsunami scenarios, improving our ability to predict and prepare for potential threats. Another tools that can be used for this improve our warning system is how we collaborate with the local governments to identifying areas with high tsunami hazard potential. Through these field assessment and mapping activities, we have been able to generate detailed tsunami hazard maps for vulnerable regions. And we also have an action plan for non-tectonic tsunami that include not just technical but also non-technical measurements, because we need to promote the local wisdom for self-evacuation and strengthening the tsunami ready program. And we also established our national consortium on earthquake and tsunami expert to coordinate effort across institutions, because we cannot work solely. So this consortium ensures that a synergy of monitoring, processing, and analysis of earthquake and tsunami data to create an integrated and sustainable early warning system. Another activities also have been established is the UNESCO IOC Tsunami Ready program, right now in 10 communities, working to comply with the 12 indicators of the Tsunami Ready program. This effort involve advocacy, community training, and the development of emergency response team. For example, this is the Tanjung Benoa Regency. And this community collaborate with BNPB, BPPD, UNDP, and Red Cross Indonesia to enhance tsunami preparedness. These partnerships have resulted in the development of tsunami hazard map, installation of evacuation signs, and establishment of vertical evacuation rules. Schools and hotels have also been actively involved in this training, and preparedness activities to ensure the comprehensive approach to disaster response. Indonesia also are in the preparation and develop and propose this international standard in this in this regard is the ISO 22327 for landslide early warning system, and also ISO 223283 for community-based tsunami early warning system. Why we need to have this ISO? Because we need to accelerate the development of reliable early warning mechanism. With these standards, we do hope we can enhance public-private partnership and also supporting the effectiveness of early warning system for multi-hazard scenario. As to conclude this speech, a holistic approach to early warning system, one that combines systematic observation, scientific innovation, data sharing, and community preparedness, is crucial for building resilient societies. Our systems must continue to evolve alongside scientific advancement to effectively mitigate the impact of a disaster like tsunamis. Early warning system not only help manage immediate risks, but also contribute to long-term sustainability and resilience in vulnerable regions. So, ladies and gentlemen, the journey to resilience is long, but it is one we must undertake together. As we advance our early warning system, let us remember that true resilience is not just about surviving the next disaster, it is about thriving in the face of uncertainty. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nelly. Please remain on stage. Mohon untuk tetap berada di atas panggung, Ibu, for the next agenda. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we would also like to invite Mr. Eric Yap, Mr. Andi Rizaldi to join us to the stage for a token of appreciation.
And also we would like to invite Dr. Raditya Jati, SSE, MSE, Deputy for Systems and Strategy of BNPB, to be kindly giving the token of appreciation and souvenirs.
The first one for Mr. Eric Yap.
Boleh tepuk tangannya Bapak Ibu. Please give another big round of applause. And also thank you to Mr. Eric Yap for the keynote speech.
Thank you very much. The next token of appreciation presented to Dr. Nelly Florida. And the next one, the token of appreciation for Mr. Andi Rizaldi. Let's give another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
And now please gather together for a photo session. To the camera. 3, 2, 1. Another one. 3, 2, 1. Boleh tepuk tangannya sekali lagi Bapak Ibu. Please give another round of applause. And thank you again for all the speakers.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You may now return back to your seats. Excellencies, distinguished guests, honored speakers, and participants. As we conclude the opening ceremony of these impactful events, we would like to express our deepest gratitude for your attendance and participation.
And before we close this opening ceremony, we would like to extend a special thanks to our hosts, sponsors, and organizers whose tireless efforts have made this possible. With that, we officially close this opening ceremony, but we also have a VIP tour after this. But again, ladies and gentlemen, please stay throughout the day here since we have series of meetings, conference, and also our expo.
Once again, with that, we officially close the opening ceremony. Have a wonderful day ahead, and we look forward to seeing you throughout the event.
I'm Tommy Chokro.
And I'm Gisela Tessa.
Thank you again.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.